Welcome to Flosstube number 4. Today it is the 15th of July and it is a Saturday afternoon actually. And this is the second time I'm starting this because I just started and it started raining really hard, so I had to close all my windows. And so I'm starting again. My name is Hanneke. For those who are new here, you're very welcome. And for those who are returning, thank you very much for coming back. It's lovely to have you here. Today I have got 7 WIPs, so it's a little bit of a WIP rate, not really, but I'm going to call it that anyway. And I have a little bit of a haul, so I've been shopping, which is after stitching my other favorite thing to do. And then at the end I have an idea, but I have a few questions on how to go about it because it's a new kind of pattern for me. So I might ask a few questions at the end, so maybe some of you can help me with that. That would be lovely. As some of you know, I am working in higher education, so we are sort of finishing off this school year, and in about a week I have my proper summer break, which in the Netherlands is, for us, it's 5 weeks, which is it's luxurious really. So the next week will be, our coming week will be relatively easy going, I think. And then it will be annual leave. And I'm really looking forward to it. I have this whole list of things that I want to do. A lot of creative things I want to do. Things on my list are buying a sewing machine. So I'm thinking about buying a beginner's sewing machine. Because all I want to do is try making a pillow and try making a project bag maybe, some things like that. So I think that's not the most difficult kind of sewing. So I'm thinking about buying a beginner's machine. So that's on my list. I need to do some painting in my house, so I'm gonna have a look into that, which is not really creative, to be honest, because it's just straightforward painting. But it needs doing, so I will do it. I will visit with my parents for about a week, I think. And they live in Groningen, so I live in Vlissingen, which is the south of the Netherlands, so I have to travel all the way up to the north of the Netherlands, and then I can visit my parents. And I say all the way. I know some of you live in countries where the distance I'm talking about now is nothing, but to us it is from the other side to the country, from one side of the country to the other side of the country. So it feels like a very big trip. And I'm going to do a Flosstube from there as well, because my grandmother also did cross stitching, and so did my mum. And there are quite a few lovely finished works that I would like to show you from the 3 of us. So I will do that as well during my break. And then I might start a new pattern, which again I will talk to you about at the end of this Flosstube. So yeah, I've got quite a few things on my list, things to do, which is lovely. I look forward to my break. But I've got 1 week to go. For now, I will give you an update on everything I have been doing for the past weeks. I have been stitching quite a lot, even though it was busy at work for a while. But I find that stitching is quite a nice way to relax. So I do stitch even though it's busy. Maybe I stitch even more when it's busy. Just I don't know, order my thoughts or something, or yeah. It's therapy sometimes, isn't it? The first one I'm going to show you is the rainbow squares from Vivsters. She's on Etsy. And I'm going to show you the pattern either way on the screen. And it's 144 squares, I think, in total. And last time I showed it to you, I had mainly the blue corner done, so the right lower corner. And I'm not a fan of blue. I don't like stitching with blue, especially dark blue. I'm not very keen on that. So So I wasn't sure whether I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed stitching it, but I didn't like all the blue. But now in, you know, balancing it with all the other colors, I think it's perfect. So it's nice to see it all coming together a bit more. And I'm happy with this. I work on it quite often, even if it's just one square. A square is 9 by 9, so it's something you can do if you've got 10 minutes. You can just grab it and make one of those squares, because it's just tiny, really. It's quickly done. And then they do have a motif. There are a few in there that are just one color, and then most of them do have a motif, usually with 2 colors, and then there are a few that have 3 colors in, but that's only very few squares. I will put it up close to the camera. I hope you can see something, because I can't. I think it's really lovely. There will be 2 more rows over here that will be pink and purple. So purple is currently not in here, but it will be added. And then there will be, I will be halfway done then, and then the other half will be on top here. So I am really, really loving this. It is turning out really nice. And something else I've noticed is that I enjoy ironing my stitching. I really notice a difference before stitching it and after, before ironing it and after ironing it. So I stitched these yesterday, and this morning I ironed it, and I thought, oh, that does really help, because it does help to press it nicely so they lay very nicely together. So yeah, a new hobby, ironing. And I hate ironing normally, but ironing this is worth it. So yeah, very happy with this. And it's easy to pick up, like I just said, just a 9 by 9 square, if I have a little bit of time, but it's also easy to put down because of that. And sometimes that's important as well, because there are other things that need doing. So yeah, there we are. Happy with this stitch. Very happy. And I love the colorfulness of it. I find that with stitching, I really like stitching with bright colors, more than I do with dark colors. My mum and I were trying to pick out a project together, and my mum does crochet, and there is something about Tunis crochet, and then you can cross stitch on it. But I think we are never going to work out the proper color palette, because she likes browns and sort of, it's not a darker color palette, but it's more earthy, and I prefer bright colors. So I'm not sure we are ever going to figure out a proper color palette if we ever want to do a project together. But the idea was there, and maybe in future we'll pick it up again. But for now, we'll leave it. But yeah, it will be nice to do some cross stitching on something like that, something different. This is my stitch along progress. So I'm doing a stitch along with Cliffside Stitches. She is also on Etsy, and this is the first week was the middle one, and then the second week was the one around it, and the border and all the squares here. Well, it's not all squares, but you know what I mean. The grid and the border was before we started. So this morning she brought out week 3, which are these little squares here. So I will do that tonight. And I am really enjoying it. I wasn't sure when she brought out the first week. I struggled with it. So I think I made it and then pulled it out twice. And then the third time I was happy with it, and I thought, okay, I'll go with this. And I think my main issue was that I picked 6 colors, and I usually prefer to work with less colors. So in the end, I'm currently working with 3 colors, 3 or 4, 3 colors. And maybe I'll bring in other colors and maybe I won't. So yeah, I think I like it a bit more. A bit less colors is nicer for me. I don't know why that is, but it's just how it works out. And then the second week I didn't have to take anything out. I could just stitch it the way I wanted it. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's really nice. Now this is what does she call it? A design it yourself stitch along. So she always has options. So these were options, and then there are others that I haven't chosen. And then there's also an option for black work. And I have never done black work, but I have to say there are a few things I've seen, and I might try it in the future because it's really pretty. But for now I'm going with just cross stitch because I do prefer that, I think. And I think this is turning out nicely. And because it is a design yourself and people can pick and choose, I do enjoy the Facebook group as well, because it's really interesting to see all the choices that people make on this piece and how different it's going to turn out. There are people who have spaced out the grid, for instance, or they've used a very different kind of fabric. People who are doing it monochrome, which is also turning out really nice. And then there are some who are using, is it a variegated or the multicolor DMC? And then they mix the colors in the multicolor strand. They choose them separately as well, and so they work it all together. And I think that's a really nice way to do it as well. So yeah, I've seen beautiful, beautiful pieces, but I'm quite happy with mine as well. And tonight I will stitch the third week. It's also not too big, because I've also seen stitch-alongs where a lot of people end up being late or not being able to keep up. And with this one, it's not much to stitch, so you can keep up, I think. Or if you are behind, you can sort of catch up later. It's still doable. So this is a nice size for a stitch along, I think. That's the stitch along. And then we move on to my flowers. And I have forgotten to put the full pattern out, so I will make a picture of that and put that on the screen. This is a kit from Magic Needle, and I'm really enjoying this kit. I've never made anything from this is it a shop? I'm not sure, but I'm really enjoying it. And I'm using their floss, which is Gamma Moulin, and it's fine. It's very much like DMC. And then I'm using a 16 count Ada, and this is where I'm at the moment. Now I usually stitch on this in the evenings, and I have made more mistakes after last week. I think it's because it's not in Pattern Keeper. I find that with my other full coverage, Pattern Keeper is saving my life, but with this one it's just a paper pattern, and I find it difficult to count, and some of the symbols are also quite similar, so it's difficult to see the difference properly. And yeah, the mistakes are easily made, but then again, this is a kind of pattern where, let's not pretend that there's a lot of order in here. So I don't think it matters if the colors are swapped around here and there. I think the idea is still very much there. And it is very, very pretty. I do have to say, it's becoming quite lifelike in the way it's stitching up. So there will be more of a white flower here. So that will break up the color palette again a little bit, and then there will also already be the pot will be right there. So it is moving along quite nicely. And I don't stitch on this very often. I find that I can do about one flower a night. And then I've done I think I've stitched on it 3 times since we saw each other last. So yeah, it does go quite quickly. And it looks beautiful. I really think it looks beautiful. This is one I might frame when it's finished, because it's so lifelike and so pretty. So yes, happy with that progress. And this is, like I said, it's not one that I pick up quickly because of I think because of the paper pattern. So if we can find a solution for that, I would be even more thrilled about that pattern. But yeah, for now it is a paper pattern. And weirdly, for the next one I'm going to show you, that's also a paper pattern, and it doesn't matter. So I think it depends very much on the kind of pattern as well. And this one is quite easy, and I'm quite surprised because I didn't think it would be. It's the Farben des Wassers, and it's from Historical Stickmuster, and I am loving this one as well. I will try to fold this properly so you can see it. So the last time I've shown you my progress, I had about 10 of these squares done, and now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and that's 14 squares done, and a little bit extra of the motif here. So yeah, I've done quite a lot. I think I've done these 3 and then that one up there, and it is beautiful. It's just so lovely to work on. Absolutely lovely. The silk floss is a treat as well. It's really, really nice. It's soft. It's 1 strand, and I find I don't mind 2 strands, to be honest, but I do find that stitches lay neater with 1 strand. And this is 20 count Ada. So it's proper. It's lovely coverage as well with 1 strand, and it turns out really, really beautiful. The big motif, I think I saw 1 mistake in the pattern, or they seem to miss, like it looks quite geometric here and similar, but they missed a few stitches here and there, so I've added them in. But other than that, perfect pattern. And it's not difficult. I tend to do the motifs first, and then I fill in the blocks, like I've done here, for instance. But the only one I haven't done that for is this one. So in this one, I did the color first, and then later on I filled in the motif. You can do either way, really. It doesn't matter. But it does mean that it's quite straightforward. And the colors are beautiful. So yeah, I'm very happy with this. Very, very pleased. And this is still my Sunday stitch. So I work on it every Sunday. And I enjoy having a Sunday stitch, so I will keep doing that. My next one is my full coverage. And I will put the artwork on the screen. I keep forgetting the name of the person who made it. Don't remember. But it's beautiful, and there's quite a lot of patterns like this out there. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. And yesterday on Facebook, I saw someone who had this one finished and framed, and that does help and give you motivation, doesn't it? Because it's beautiful. And I thought, oh yes, I'm gonna finish this thing and put it in a frame. So yeah, and I've done a lot. I have found that I have been grabbing this stitch way more often than I thought I would. So I even grab it in the mornings, and I think it is because of Pattern Keeper, because it makes it quite easy to stitch something like this. So yes, I have been really enjoying it, and I think I've no idea how many crosses I've done, but yeah, a good amount. I think last time we spoke I was about here, and so I've added all of this, and then I've started here. And here you can see that it is very much confetti stitching, because this currently has about 5 or 6 colors in, and it's all over the place. So yeah, it is very much confetti heavy, but I've found a way of working with it. I will never show you the back of this because it is just, there's no knots or anything, but it's just pulling through the thread quite a way sometimes. But I use because this is 2 strands of floss on 16 count Ada, and I use the loop method for starting my thread, and I'm very much enjoying that one. It's so much better than what I used to do, which was just going in the back and just making a little knot with my thread. And then you would have all these knots in the back. So now I don't have that anymore because of the loop stitch, of the loop start. So if you don't know about the loop start, please look it up. There are people who've done it on YouTube and are showing it perfectly. One of them has taught me to, and it's so easy, and it really helps to keep it nice and flat and not have all those knots in the back. So yeah, it's just the pulling through of the thread from one place to the other. You can already see the shimmering a little bit. So this is going to be the lantern, and the tree is this is where the tree sort of is. So yeah, you can already see the shimmering of the water here. And like I said, I'm really loving it. Really loving it. I think I'm now currently on 19 or 20%. So it's going quite quickly. It's much quicker than I thought it would be. And it's just lovely. I will move into the greens, sort of sea green and pale blues. So I'm looking forward to that as well, because I love that color palette. Yeah, really enjoying this. Really enjoying it. A lot of colors and a lot of hard work, but you can sort of see something happening here, and it's no longer just a splash of color. And I can only recommend this one. It's lovely. It's from R2C, which I think at some point I said it was an American company, but someone corrected me and said it's actually Australian. So hereby it is corrected. It is an Australian company, and they have beautiful, beautiful patterns, big ones as well, similar to Heaven and Earth design, so really big ones. And this is what they call a mini. So if you prefer a mini, like me, you can try this one. Right. Those are the ones you know about. And then I started another one, because I saw it on Etsy, and it was just like, oh yeah, I want to do that one. So I've started it. And the reason why I wanted to do this one, it has a lot of things that I like in a pattern that I didn't have in the current WIPs I had at the time. So I will put it on the screen, and it is from, I've forgotten her name. I will put it on the screen as well. She's a very well-known designer, and she's designed a lot of things. She also designs a lot for cross stitch magazines as well. But this one is in her Etsy shop, and it is called The Beach is Calling. And I live close to the beach. I live in Vlissingen, so the beach is about I think 3 minutes cycling. We do everything by bike, so it's about 3 minutes cycling either way, and I'm at the beach. So it's very nearby to where I live. And I love it. I love the beach. I'm very much a water person. So yeah. And I've started this one because also it has the squares. So you can choose to do one of those little blocks and then put it away for a bit and do another block at another point. So it feels like it has different stitches in it, and you can have a mini finish, and then later do a different part of it. So I've always wanted to do that because I think that's just a nice way to work. But then I found that I really enjoyed this stitch. So I've been working on it quite a lot, because it is quite easy and it is absolutely lovely. It has lovely colors in, and it gives quite a nice depth as well, like with this one. And at some point I thought it's quite similar to Shannon Christine, who does all those layers of colors and different shades of one color and then makes some sort of depth. And it is similar to that, but then again, also very different in outcome. So it's a very own way of designing, and I really like it. This one will be a bit fuller like that one. So I'm currently doing the last shell, and then I will move on. I think I will start doing that one first, which is the lighthouse. And that's one of my favorite ones on here. The lighthouse, beautiful. I've been working on the border, but the border is repetitive. So I usually do a little bit of the border and then I do something in the middle. And sometimes in the mornings when I'm still tired or something, I tend to continue on the border because it's easy, because it is repetitive. But yeah, it's a lovely design. When I bought it, I didn't really check the stitch count because I thought it was smaller than this. So then I thought, well, it is quite big. But like I said, it's a lovely stitch and I'm really enjoying it. And I can, if I want to, I could put it away and grab it later on easily because of all those little squares. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying this one. And it looks nice. The colors are nice as well. And I don't like red. So that's interesting because I normally wouldn't pick red at all. I wouldn't pick a pattern that has a lot of red in. But with this one, it's absolutely fine. I don't mind it. I think it brightens it up actually. So yeah, very happy with this start. And I'm already, I don't think I can still call it a start because I'm already here. So yeah, I'll call it a work in progress. Yeah, lovely theme. Lovely theme. Very summery. Then we move to my last WIP, which is a small. A while ago I finished, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas from Shannon Christine. And she also has a Christmas club where she sort of has patterns that she sort of brings a few out that combine together. And I bought one of those that has two smalls in. I'll put that on the screen. And the Holly Jolly one is the one I'm currently working on. Now, I've had a bit of issue with this because this is where I am at the moment. This one has Kryneck in. Now, I've never worked with Kryneck. And I did have something else from DMC, which is a metallic thread gold from DMC, and I hated it. And I don't have that quickly, but I really disliked it, so I pulled it out. And I'm not sure I really like having the gold in it. I don't think it really blends with a pattern. So I've decided to leave the Kryneck out. And the Kryneck would be stars. So there was a little star here and there was a little star sort of here. So what I've done is I've continued this gingham row in line with the rest. So I won't have the stars in the pattern. And instead of that, I think I'm going to use these little snowflakes from the bigger pattern and add them in here instead of the stars. So I can do them in white. And then because I want to display this together anyway at Christmas, that will sort of mix and match nicely together. And it means I don't have to get the Kryneck and I can just pick other colors. It does leave me a problem here now to solve because it also had Kryneck in the bauble and in the sort of the little thingy on top of the bauble. And yeah, I have no idea how I'm going to fix that yet, but I will. I might just use the brown from here. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. It's easy, and it's very much Shannon Christine design, isn't it? So yeah, and it does stitch up quickly. Happy with this one, despite the Kreinik issues. Yeah. And if any of you, because I tried to match a DMC color that is gold without being metallic, so it just has sort of a gold color to a regular DMC, I couldn't find one. But if any of you has an idea, I am all ears. But I couldn't find one. I found one that was a 3/8 something, I think, or 3/0 something, and I could barely see it, so it sort of didn't work with the fabric. But yeah, it didn't work. So this is how it ended up, and I will put those snowflakes in instead. And I'm happy with those changes. Now we'll move straight into my haul because I want to make this into pillows. And I have found a beautiful red fabric that I can use for this and for the back of the pillows. So this morning I got this and I think it's perfect. I think it fits perfectly with both of them. And to be honest, they have very similar colors in anyway. So yeah, happy with that. Mind you, I also bought this one and I also think that one fits. So I have to figure out which one I'm going to use. And maybe I'll use both of them. Maybe I can figure out a way to use both of them. I have to look at a few tutorials on how to make a proper pillow and how to finish a cross stitch into a nice pillow. So yeah, I'll look into that. But these fabrics I think work very well with the color scheme of these patterns. So I will figure it out. And I was very happy to find this morning. And then I can also show you. Oh, this was the one I showed. This is a very early work for me. I think I was maybe I was 15 or something when I made this. I've shown this before. These are the dogs, and this fabric specifically will go with the dogs. So because I will make this into a pillow. It'll be quite a big pillow, but that's okay. I don't mind. And I think this fabric works perfectly with the colors in the dog. So I have sorted that out as well. Now the only thing I have to do is make the pillow. And I will do that in the upcoming weeks. Yeah, happy with that. And for those who live in the Netherlands and are wondering where I got this is from Pipo's. I think Pipo's is throughout the Netherlands, but I buy mine in Middelburg. So yeah, they have a nice range and it's good quality. So feel free to have a look if you're nearby. And that brings us to my last bit of haul. As you all know, my favorite fabric is 16 count Aida. And it doesn't come in a lot of colors. So usually when I want a colored Aida, it's a 14 count, sorry, which I don't really like working on. Or I have to work on even weave, which is not my favorite. I've worked on it before. It's not my favorite. But it is doable. But I was just wondering, does anyone have 16 count in nice colors? And I found a shop that does, and I ordered online the colors that she had. So this is parchment, and it's 16 count Aida. And I think this is a really nice soft color that I think will go lovely with some of the Shannon Christine designs for Christmas. So I might make some designs on here as well. It's really nice. It's 50 by 55 centimeters. of that one. This one is also the same 50 by 55 centimeters. And this is smoky blue. And again, I really like this. It's different and something like a Christmassy theme in blues would be nice, blue and white. So yeah, I really like this one as well. It has the price on top of it. So, and then this one, I'm not sure. I think this is some kind of grey. Is it pewter grey or something? Not sure. I might say it wrong. I think that's the one. It didn't have a thingy on top. But yeah, this is also very nice. So those three I bought, and those are 16 count Ada, all of them, and I'm very happy with that. And I will figure out what to do with them. Now on to my question, because that's all my stitching done. My question is in regards to a new project I'm looking at, because I'm really enjoying my full coverage. And I thought, why don't I have a look at the bigger full coverages? Also because I see them online, on YouTube, on Flosstube, and I really like them. I think they're beautiful, and they're really, they're works of art to put on the wall, really. It's really beautiful. So I thought to have a look at all the Heaven and Earth designs, and I've also looked on Artisy, which is the one where I got my full coverage from as well. And I found a pattern on Heaven and Earth designs that I really liked. It is peacocks in flowers or something, in between flowers. And I will put it on the screen. That's probably easier. I will put it on the screen, and I think it's beautiful. It has a bit of the sea, it has flowers in, and it has beautiful colors. But it is 700 by 700 stitches, so that's a lot. And I've never done a project that big. And they advise even weave 25 count, I think 1/1 with one strand of floss. I think that's what they suggest. And then they have options on 90 colors or 240 colors. And I've already asked Jessica. She is a Dutch Flosstuber and she makes a lot of these. So I've asked for her advice, and she says she normally does 90 colors. But she's currently doing one that has 240 colors. Now I like the max color better. If I look at the mock-up that they do show, I prefer the 240 colors, but it is a bit daunting. So at first I thought I'll do 90 colors, and then I thought, well, if I'm going to make one of these massive projects, maybe I should do it right. So I'm still considering that. But my main question is about the fabric, because I prefer Ada. And I've been looking at Ada 22 count, which is a Hardanger fabric. But I can't seem to get it in the size that I need. So my question, I think, first is, has anyone ever stitched on Hardanger 22 count? And would you use one strand? I think it's one strand of floss, because that's what I would prefer, rather than two. So yeah, do you have any advice to share on starting a Heaven and Earth design this big when you're considering to use Ada instead of even weave? I've looked at the even weave. I think it will be fine. It shouldn't be a problem. My dogs were on even weave, and the one I've got framed with the flowers and the birds was also an even weave, so it won't be a problem. But I prefer the Ada, I think. So it's just a bit wondering what will have nice coverage, and then what is nice to work on as well. So yeah, I'm trying to work it out. I'm sure I'll figure it out at some point, because I would really like to make this one. I think it's really beautiful. I really like it. So I'll think a little bit more about that, and if anyone has any wisdom to share, I'm all ears. I'm happy to hear it. I think that is all my stitching. I promised all of you to look into the floss drops, and I haven't had much time to do it, but I'm coming up with a problem, so I haven't been able to work it out, which is the punch. How would you call it? A punch? So with this one, for instance, I made this one. I like to work with 3 layers of paper because I like the visual of having 2 colors behind it. So the punch is not big enough to have all these layers of paper. So I can only push it so far, and that doesn't look good at all. So this was another try of mine, and I'm not happy with it. So I will have to work, I will have to figure this out, and I will get there. So this is stitched, these flowers are stitched, and they're very cute. But this should be up a little bit further. So I will figure that out at some point. Another creative thing to do during my break, I think, and then I will hopefully next time be able to show you something that's worth looking at rather than this one. Right, I think that's it. Now I thought I was going to have about 15 minutes for this Flosstube because it was just an update on where I was, and I'm just looking at my screen and it's 41 minutes. So I'm sorry if I've been rambling a lot, but I really enjoy making these. It's great fun to tell you about what I'm doing, and I look forward to reading comments. If you're new here, feel free to press like or subscribe so you can see whenever I've uploaded a new video. If you're just here to watch, that's great too as well. You're very welcome. I think I will be back in 2.5 weeks again, when I will be properly having my annual leave and have some time to do stuff. And I will also, that's another creative thing I'm going to do during my weeks off, is a tutorial on the card making. So I will look into that as well and probably post that in a couple of weeks. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out for that. For now, I wish you all a lovely Sunday tomorrow, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.